So it's been a little over a year now since I got my FX6, and even before I got the camera, I was already looking at so many different options of accessories and parts and pieces that I would want to put on to build the rig exactly how I want it for my type of shoots. If you haven't checked it out, I put a video together a few days ago that was just kind of a step-by-step building process of my rig, and I wanted to go a little bit more in depth about some of the accessories that I've chosen and why I've chosen them and what they help me do while I'm on set. So today I want to tell you about what I have found to be the most valuable things that I have built onto this camera rig. To play along with typical YouTube structures, this is somewhat of a top 5, but I've got some honorable mentions too that I'll go through first. First honorable mention being the Tilta cage. So there are a lot of cage options for the FX6. I know Wooden Camera's got one, Bright Tangerine, and I'm sure there's a few others. Now, if you don't know, this Tilta cage is, I believe, the cheapest option. I know the small rig one might be similar in price, but I looked at some of the more expensive options and then looked back at the Tilta one and realized it's got everything I want at a much lower price point, and so there wasn't ever really another consideration for me. One thing that I did kind of go back and forth on, and I talked about this in the video where I unboxed my FX6 and built it for the first time, was the battery plate. Now, I started out looking at the Tilta Type 2 battery plate, which mounts via 15mm rods and has a hinge similar to the Wooden Camera one, but I ended up going with the hard mounted one because I wanted that rigidity that allows the battery to be solidly on the camera and not hinge. I didn't want a locking mechanism to come loose and have my battery swing all over the place, potentially come unplugged. I wanted the rigidity and solidness that came with the normal V-mount plate that comes on the Tilta cage. But this Tilta cage is an honorable mention just because everything else is built off of it. It's fantastic. I've got the dovetail on here. I've got the bottom plate. I do have the side bracket on the other side of the camera. So I'm using all of the pieces that Tilta offers for this cage, and I just love how modular it is and how much it allows me to build off of it. So I talked about the battery plate, and that'll kind of lead me into the first accessory I want to talk about today, which is this right here. So obviously this right here is our V-mount battery, but you'll notice in between the battery plate and the V-mount battery, there's another V-mount battery looking thing. And what that is the Shape V-mount hot swap plate. Now, all this plate essentially is a V-mount battery that's got another mount on the other side of it that allows you to hot swap your normal batteries. I put it on the back of my camera like I would put a normal battery back there, and it allows me to take the battery on and off and leave the camera still on. So as you'll notice, the camera's still on and I can swap batteries. My monitor stays on, my camera stays on, any accessories that I've got plugged in can stay on because they're either plugged into the V-mount plate itself or the hot swap box, and then nothing's plugged into my V-mount battery. I can take these off and hot swap them and no interruption to shooting. That was a consideration for me, was being able to hot swap batteries when I was looking at V-mount plates. I decided to go with the hard mounted one like I mentioned, and I didn't have hot swap capabilities, but I had the idea. I was like, there's gotta be a way to hot swap with this. And I looked at shark fins, which essentially are just plates that have 2 V-mounts on them, so you can leave one battery plugged in, swap it, plug a new one in, take the other one off. And those are pretty standard on much larger rigs, but I didn't want to have to run 2 batteries, so this was a great solution that allows me to still have hot swap capability, and it's not too bulky or large. It just adds a little bit of length this way on the camera. Essentially, how the power workflow works is this plate constantly charges this plate, which powers the camera, and so power just flows, and even if this battery dies, this is still going to have full charge and is able to power the camera for a good long while. I don't know if you noticed, but on this battery plate, I have a little Velcro patch, and this is going to be my second honorable mention for accessories for my camera rig. Not part of that top 5, but definitely an honorable mention. What that Velcro allows me to do is this: add patches to my camera. I've seen a few other people do this, and I love having some personality come out in my camera rig. So I've actually probably got like 10 different patches that I will swap out given my my mood on the day. I just got this guy. It's a little astronaut surfing on some waves, and I just think it's cool. You can actually see on this one I added on the Velcro myself, so not every patch you get has to be hard Velcro on the back. You can just get some Velcro strips and cut them down to size. But I love being able to add a little bit of personality to my camera rig, and people love seeing it too. They're always excited to see what patches I'm gonna bring out. So it's a fun little way to personalize the camera, let everyone know it's yours, and let everyone know what mood you're in for the day. Like I said, this plate just gives me a lot of peace of mind. The ability to hot swap V-mount batteries only, I don't have to deal with BPUs, and all my accessories can stay on too, not just my camera, is a huge win for me. You can pick it up on B&H. I believe all these products will be on B&H. I'll leave links down in the description below. The next accessory I want to talk about is my on-camera monitor, which is the Hollyland Pyro 7. Now I understand small HD and Teradek are the industry standard, but the value that you get out of I think around $1,000 to get 2 Pyro monitors, which I have. They're 7-inch monitors, they've got false color, exposure tools, LUT support, all the things you'd want in a professional monitor, and they're all in one built in to be transmitters and receivers, as well as the 7-inch monitors. The entire Pyro system is fantastic. I think Hollyland has done a great job of creating this really modular system that you can kind of slowly build or get all at once and use in any which way. One thing I'll add about the Pyro 7, these are not the default antennas that come with the monitor. These are like a $9 separate purchase. So if you want these shorter antennas, which I prefer because the other ones are, you know, probably 3 inches tall, and I prefer these shorter ones, you can pick these up on B&H or Amazon as well. And it's a great little addition to keep the camera a little bit more compact as opposed to those big tall antennas. Now, when I first bought this monitor, I attached it to the camera via a $22 small rig magic arm, and both ends would come loose. The part that was attached to the camera would come loose. Often I had to retighten that down. Then the part that would attach to the monitor would come loose occasionally, and I had to retighten that down. And even the articulating part in the middle, that ball joint, would also come loose, and I would have to, it's got teeth on it, so I'd have to loosen it enough that it got past the teeth, and I would have to position it and then tighten it down multiple 360 turns, and it was just a little bit of a hassle, and I didn't fully trust the arm. Like many things when it comes to camera gear, my resistance to spend a bunch of money was trumped by my want for a product that just worked, and so that's when I started looking at more expensive magic arms. That leads me to my next accessory, which is the Noga Cine arm. Now, I believe this is the medium size, so I believe the total length of the arm is around 8 to 9 inches, and it is a fantastic arm. It's one of those things that it's so simple, and all it needs to do is loosen and tighten and articulate, but I can't express how much nicer it is to have an arm that just locks and unlocks with no teeth, no steps. It's just, you unlock it and you can do maybe a 180 turn and it articulates to exactly where you want it to go, and then you turn it back 180 degrees and it locks right where it needs to be. There's no budge, it's never come loose. It is just fantastic. And again, I think that peace of mind is invaluable. So it may be a $22 arm versus a $150 arm, but it is a really, really fantastic accessory that I would buy 10 times over. Now, the last 2 pieces that I will talk about today are 2 custom-made FX6 accessories that are just made by people who own the camera and wanted a little bit more modularity out of it. Now, the first one you can see here as I move the EVF out of the way, this is the Atlas FX6 top handle support, and it's made by Paul from Appalling Productions. He's based in Little Rock, and he just owns an FX6 and owns a production company and wanted a little bit more rigidity out of the top handle. I know there have been horror stories of this top handle just snapping off for people, and he wanted to make sure that that wasn't gonna happen to him. And so we connected, and he showed on his Instagram that he was making these, and I reached out and was like, I would love to buy one whenever you're selling them. These are fantastic. It's just a plastic molded piece that's got 2 screws into the tilted top plate and 1 screw into the top handle itself, and adds a lot more strength and stability to that top handle. It also adds mounting points, 3 along this diagonal part here, and a 4th one up at the top that actually extends your EVF a little bit further forward if you'd like that, which I do. So it adds a lot more mounting points onto the side of the top handle, and it really allows you to have a lot more rigidity without adding extra bulk onto the side of the top handle. I love this custom piece because it just gives me peace of mind. Again, all these things are peace of mind, but I know that this top handle is going to be more sturdy because there's a whole extra plastic piece that has just as much, if not more, support than the top handle itself. So I've essentially doubled the strength of the top handle. And so again, that peace of mind is priceless. And I know that no matter how heavy this rig is going to be, that top handle is probably not going anywhere. And then speaking of top handles, I've got my hand on it right now, but this is the famous Custom Camera Cables FX6 top handle expander. And all this does is it mounts onto the top handle and allows you to build out your handle into a Hollywood style handle if you wanted to go with the full loop around the back, or just like I have, add this extra bracket here, and it just gives you an extra hand point. Sometimes when I'm operating easy rig, I'll kind of have my hands here, but it allows me to kind of have my hand here to not have my hand on the battery. It also just gives me a little bit more room to pick it up. If I'm, if I'm weighted a little bit more towards the back, I can grab here, here, here. There's a lot of different grabbing options, and it just gives you another point of contact on the camera that you know is going to be solid. This expansion plate just gives a whole new level of modularity to the top of the FX6, which one of the main gripes with this camera is that if you want audio, which 99% of my shoots, I run audio direct to camera, so I don't really have the option to swap out this audio top handle. I have to use it. I can't use a custom metal one. So the ability to have these accessories that build onto it is really amazing to kind of customize the rig and have that modularity while still using the default stock Sony FX6 handle. So those are the accessories that I've got on my camera that work best for me. I spent a lot of time since I've owned this camera, and like I said, even before I owned the camera, doing research and trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to build this camera into. And for my work, this build works fantastic for me. Like I said, I like bigger cinema style builds rather than more run and gun, nimble builds. So that is definitely what this build is a bigger, bulkier, as you can even see just from the bottom, like having the bottom plate and the rails and the dovetail and the tripod mounting plate. I like to keep things a little bulkier and a little heavier. So to be able to have a build like this that is functional and modular, that works really well for my work is fantastic. And so I love all the little accessories that I built into it, and obviously the personal touches as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. My name's Colin, I'm a cinematographer, and I'm just sharing filmmaking things here on this channel. So if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.